the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Apke, and I'm your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we're talking all about the ish of our souls. The ish being negative thought patterns, blockages, and challenges. But we'll also discuss the aha moments, how to deeply connect with ourselves and others, and the breakthroughs, big or small, that we experience in our body, soul, and spirit. We'll dive deep and talk about everything in between, of course. And I'm so excited to share my experiences and thoughts, as well as bring on guests who are thought leaders and truth seekers. It's my desire to uplift, encourage, and inspire you in each podcast. Joining me for another episode of the Soulish Podcast. This episode is the last episode in the 7 Chakras mini-series, and this episode is on the Crown Chakra. If you are a new listener to this podcast and or new to chakras or energy centers, I highly, highly recommend you checking out episode 16, which is a brief overview, very brief overview of all 7 chakras. And then I've dedicated an episode per chakra so that we can really dive in deep, understand as much as I could cram into one episode of the chakra, and then also just how we're connected physically, emotionally, mentally to this energy center and how it influences us. So I hope that if you've been tuning into this mini series, that you've been getting just as much out of it as I have in doing all this research and in recording even these podcast episodes. It's also given me even more insight and enlightenment as I've shared with you. So let's dive into the Crown Chakra. The Crown Chakra is the 7th chakra in the 7 chakras system. It is the highest chakra, and it represents our ability to be fully connected energetically and spiritually. When your crown chakra is fully open, you're able to access a higher consciousness. You're able to basically connect with source, the universe, and that energy, which is infinite and unknown and has no boundaries, limitations, or ceiling, which is really cool to think about. The location of this chakra is the very top of the head. Some people have the opinion that it is right above the head. It's not necessarily literally touching your head, but it sits right above you. And this chakra represents the inner and outer beauty, the spiritual connection. It's also developed between the ages of 43 and 49 years old. The 7th chakra is our connection to our spiritual nature and our capacity to allow spirituality to become an integral part of our physical lives. And I love that because that is the whole purpose, right? For us to connect spiritually while we are here having a physical human experience. So to open the chakra and to really open all your chakras to be fully balanced, free-flowing, have no hindrances, blockages, but to be able to flow freely energetically within your energy body means that you are fully connected to all parts of yourself, energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally. But the crown chakra is kind of that final little key to the door of the universe. And once opened, you really have infinite wisdom, infinite insight, infinite understanding of the universe, of source, of enlightenment, and what it is to be connected to that energy. And I know that a lot of people that have that awakening, that have that enlightened moment, that have that encounter with God, the universe, source, that when they come out of that experience, they have a really hard time grounding again. And that's been something I've even talked with clients that I've coached through, figuring out how do I reintegrate myself into my ordinary, what feels like ordinary now life, when I've had such a extraordinary experience with spirituality and the universe, source, God. And they have a hard time now bringing that into their daily lives. What this energy center and chakra does is open you up to being able to have that same energy that is coming from this energy center, the crown chakra. That same energy can now flow through you. You've opened yourself up now to have that same infinite wisdom flow through all parts of your energy body, which then does influence your physical body, your soul, your mind, emotions, and will. And so that's one way also that you can make sure that you are integrating that you are allowing that capacity for spirituality to become a part of your daily physical experience, your life. There's a sacred truth to this chakra as there is to all of the other chakras. And the sacred truth for the crown chakra is to live in the present moment. And that's what I think is really hard for a lot of people to discover and find. And I think that is what this part of your journey is when you have that experience of enlightenment, awakening, and you are having a hard time integrating that into your physical life, into your ordinary life is what it feels like. It's hard to live present in the moment because you're constantly either remembering that awakening and that enlightened moment, or you're looking towards your future and trying to figure out what it looks like to go back to that or to have that in your daily life. And what does that look like in the future? What does that even look like now, when you're living life? So the sacred truth of living in the present moment is that you are one with that universe. You are one with that source energy, God. Therefore, there is no separation between that moment that you had, that experience, that extraordinary experience that you had. There is no difference between that and your ordinary life. There is no difference even in time, whether it be in the past, present, or future. When you are communing with infinite, there is no time. Time does not exist in infinity. So what's a great practice is to practice that presence, is to practice that same energy that you have living inside of you. Literally, it's a part of your energy body. It's a part of you, of your makeup. You are spirit, soul, and body. So when you understand that, it's just the fact that you've woken up to the fact that you are a spiritual being in a human body, then you can come from that place of understanding that you are fully now integrated and now living in the present moment, knowing who you are fully to the full capacity, and now walking that out. Now that extraordinary experience is now your daily experience. Now your ordinary life is extraordinary. So instead of seeing it as a negative, you're actually even more present. Things have even more of a deeper meaning, even more purpose in your daily life. Even if you're still at the same job, doing the same thing, talking with the same people, living in the same house, driving the same car, your life is still different and changed because now you have a totally, completely different perspective. Now when you're present, you really, truly are present. Now you understand the meaning of every interaction and every reaction and everything that happens in your ordinary life. Now you understand that there is a reason for it, that there is meaning behind it, that there's a lesson to be learned, that there's an opportunity for growth. So that is the sacred truth behind this chakra. Hey, it's me, Wit. Did you know that I'm a certified life coach? I have been coaching and mentoring people for over a decade now, and I specialize with issues of the soul and focus on inner freedom and manifestation. I can help you realign with your values and purpose, break free from emotional blockages and negative thought patterns. You will feel motivated and encouraged to take the necessary steps to live a fulfilling life. We all need support and someone to cheer us on or hear us out, and it would be a privilege to be a part of your journey. My sessions are designed so that you are free to address whatever you feel is most important. If you are interested, simply go to whitneyapke.com/coaching and sign up for a free 30-minute call. I can't wait to work with you. Really, it's about achieving that personal relationship with the divine, with Source, the universe, God. It's that understanding that all physical, psychological, and emotional illusions or fears need to be removed from your life, and for you to let go of the past and to not anticipate the future, but to live in that presence, the source, the divine, the universe, God. So that's your new challenge. is to live in the present moment knowing what you now know, and to know that your life has a purpose right where you are right now. The organs that the crown chakra influences is the muscular system, the skeletal system, and the skin. The negative effects that you can experience if this chakra is blocked is energetic disorders, spiritual depression, chronic exhaustion that is not linked to a physical disorder, extreme sensitivities to light, sound, and other environmental factors. The emotional and mental issues that you can experience if this chakra is blocked is the inability to trust life. You have unclear values, unclear ethics. You have a lack of courage and a lack of humanitarianism, selfishness. You have an inability to see the larger pattern. You have a lack of faith and lack of inspiration and lack of spirituality and devotion. There are 3 questions that I like to ask myself and that I like to ask people that are possibly dealing with a blocked or hindered crown chakra. And these questions help us self-examine and help us to reflect and go inward to see if there's anything that we can find that can surface up, that can help us unblock and unhinder ourselves so that this chakra can be opened and fully functioning, fully flowing, so that we can experience this energy center and this chakra moving through us in our energy bodies and influencing us instead of life issues or future plans or fear of the future, the what if questions. So the first question I like to ask is, what guidance have you sought during meditation or praying? And this question is really important because if you are just coming from your own power, authority, influence, guidance, and you're not asking for guidance outside of yourself, then it's really hard for you to step into the unknown because you don't know what you don't know. Even if it's just source energy or the universe or God, the divine, however you put that, whatever your beliefs are, it's just a matter of you saying, I just want guidance from outside of my understanding, myself. I want to understand infinity in a deeper, more meaningful way. And just trusting that that guidance is going to come to you, that that insight is going to be brought to you, whether that's energetically, you're pulling that into your being, into your understanding, or you believe that it's divinely gifted to you. This is just a way for you to literally open yourself up to more insight, more wisdom, more information. And it's important that you're able to put ego aside or knowledge aside in order to open yourself up to the possibilities of the unknown. And it does take a little bit of faith to do that. It does take hoping in something bigger than yourself to do that. The second question that I like to ask is, are you waiting for the divine to send you an explanation for your painful experiences? If so, it's so important to list out what you've been asking an explanation for. Because these are things that probably there is resentment there, that the universe or God or the divine would allow, source would allow these things to take place in your life. And that's usually when it's a violation, when it's something that has caused severe trauma in your life and it's holding you back in such a deep way. So these things are really important to write down, to list out, so that you know what is possibly holding you back and what you need to find deeper healing in right now. So that way you are open and trusting and don't have any resentment towards God, the universe, the divine source. So that way you are open to that voice, that insight, that connection. It's basically an issue with lack of trust. And so as you list that out and you just choose to forgive, if you hold any unforgiveness towards God or the universe, source, the divine, then that gives you an opportunity to truly forgive in a way that you haven't yet, and to also let go of that control, that need to control the why, the meaning behind it, that it has to have meaning in order for you to be okay with it. You let go completely of all needs, and you just open yourself up to insight, to wisdom. Not easy, but that is so important to do. or else it's really difficult for you to fully experience what it's like to have a unblocked, unhindered crown chakra. And it's very hard to open your crown chakra to that insight and that energy that could give you the answer, give you that peace, give you even that joy in the midst of suffering and sorrow that you need. The third and final question that I like to ask is, what spiritual truths are you aware of that you live and do not live by? And list them. This is so important because sometimes you don't realize the beliefs that you have that were either formed just from your childhood or experiences that you had. And the thing is that you never want your truth to be defined by your experiences. You want truth to define your experiences. And this is where that rubber meets the road, and this is where you can decipher that. You can even believe and not believe the same thing, but not realize it because it's based off of circumstance and it's based off of the situation. If the situation is this way, then I believe that. But if this is the case, then I believe this. And so then you have no footing. You have no foundation. You have a belief, a value, a moral that is situational and always changing, always morphing to fit whatever is going on and whatever experience you're having. And that is a very dangerous place to be. Why is that a dangerous place to be? Because if you don't stand for anything, then you'll fall for everything. And that can lead you into a place that you end up feeling very misguided, where you feel betrayed. Because if you don't have a clear vision and a clear truth that is not defined by experience or situation or circumstance, but it's a truth that you live by, then you have a firm foundation of which you come through and you have a clear perspective on life. And even if it doesn't match up to your truth, what you believe to be true, you still have a clear direction for your life, and you may even be open to actual truth if your truth is even wrong or untrue. We can have beliefs that are not true, that are not actually factual or how the universe works or should be defined. We want to live an inspired life, and we want to live with truth and value, and we want to influence the world, and we want to eradicate darkness and disease and negativity and disunity, inequality. We want to bring the world together. And first, we have to make ourselves whole and fully connected. So that is the point of this chakra, is to find that truth and to live in that present moment. To know that this moment has meaning. The fact that you're listening to this episode has meaning. And it's the moment for you to make the choice of what you want to pursue in this life. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode and this mini series on the 7 chakras. And if you have any questions, you can submit your questions on the I Am Soulish Instagram and Facebook page. I will have a story up that you can submit your questions directly there to me, or you can comment on any of the episode clips that I post on Instagram and the Facebook page. I look forward to our live Q&A on November 1st at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for joining me for this mini-series and this episode. I look forward to seeing you right back here next week. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Soulish is not only a podcast, but a community where we can relate to each other and support each other in our soul journeys. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at I Am Soulish.